Runners only with Dom Harvey.
Runners only with Dom Harvey and Sam Harvey. Sorry, you were just talking over the intro. What's up? What we saying?
Oh, sorry, bro. I didn't realize you were doing an intro.
Hey, no, you're the guest. What were you yammering on about? I had my earplugs and I couldn't even hear you.
Oh, no stress. I was just yarning.
Sam Harvey, no relation. The Harvey side of my family is very small. So a couple of people even messaged me saying, are you guys related? Not a chance, I don't think. But this man is an absolute savage. Recently tied the world record for a more or less continuous 677 kilometre run in Australia. Mate, it's great to have you here. I've heard you do so many interviews, and the host usually starts the same way by calling you like mental, calling you a madman, calling you bonkers, something like that. Which how do you feel about that? It feels like it's a bit of a cop out, bit of an easy intro. I could think of many other words for you.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm a little bit twisted, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm really mad. I'm just I'm digging deep and I'm going after something, and I guess maybe that's perceived as a level of madness and on the comparison of someone else's normal spectrum of existence versus what I'm up to. So I'm just getting after something, and that might seem a bit strange to a few people that haven't done anything at this scale,
which is most of us, 99.999. But words I would go with would probably be things like disciplined, courageous, calculating, meticulous. I mean, the shit you look like the sort of guy that would wing it, but you're not a guy that's winging it. There's a lot of calculation that goes into what you do. There has to be.
Yeah, I mean, like there's definitely been a lot of winging it in the past, and the winging it has got me to where I am. And I guess I am able to both operate with planning, but then when shit goes awry, make it up on the spot and get things done. Like in my early years of racing, I kind of had this like little internal personal brand, and I called it skin of your teeth racing. It was like
like sort of winging it.
Oh, totally winging it. Like when I was racing in Ireland, I'd finish driving the tractor, and then I'd be like, oh, I've got like an hour and a half to get into Dublin, and then get to this race, and I'd sprint or bike like into the nearest village, and then like maybe catch a bus, and then that bus would be running behind, and then I would like get off early, and I'd like run across a freeway, like a full on motorway, dodgy, sketchy shit.
Sounds highly illegal.
Climb up this cliff face, jump this or climb over this 9-foot fence into this car park, and then that allowed me onto a train or like get to a taxi, and then like literally there was a couple races I'd like get there, and people were like on the start line, and I'd like, I'm not even sure, they'd be like, yeah, you can pay afterwards. They'd give me a number, I'd flick that number on, they'd be like lining up, and I'd be like having to take a leak on the start line, and they're like 3, 2, and they know that I'm here, everybody's laughing, and then we go, and I get off and get on the start line, and we run, and I like managed to get like first or second, or at least a podium in that race, and I'm like, yeah, just scraped by, and they don't know the 2-hour ordeal just like getting to that start line. So.
The warm up, unlike anyone else's. So how long ago was this? I think this sets the tone nicely for the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So I was in Ireland in 2017.
Okay.
So just doing like a bit of farm work and building, and what else was I doing? And then obviously like doing a few running races, and a bit of boxing, and just kind of living my life.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. We should probably start by explaining the concept of laps racing, because I mean, there's a lot of people that'll be listening to this that are fans of yours, that know what you've done and are familiar with the concept. But I think most normal New Zealanders would have no clue what it means. So,
for sure.
How would you explain it?
Yeah. So, I guess the sport that I've kind of really come into my own in the last couple of years. I've obviously been running ultra marathon, which is really, really long format racing, but so like hundreds of kilometers, and then the backyard ultra format, which I've kind of really been giving some steam recently. It's basically a last person standing format where you run a 6.7 kilometer loop, and that 6.7 kilometer loop might be set over can be set up over any terrain. It might be flat, it might be hilly, it might be grassy, it might be rugged, whatever. But basically, everybody lines up on the start line at the start of each hour, and you have 60 minutes to complete that 6.7 kilometre loop, or 4.1667 miles. And yeah, if you finish it fast, then you get a bit of a rest. Maybe like if you finish it in 40 minutes, then you get a 20-minute rest, and you can eat and drink and do what you need to do. Or if you do it slow and you're coming in 59 minutes, then basically you've got to go out on straight away. You get no rest time, and so it's a bit of a balancing act. But basically the way it works is you lap that 6.7 kilometre loop hour after hour. If you take longer than the hour, then you get kicked out. If you can't start a loop, then you get kicked out, and it continues until there's at least 2 people left in the race. And as soon as that second to last person drops off, then that's the last person standing, and they have to do one more loop to basically secure it. And they can't continue looping after that. So basically it's the winner. There's only one finisher in these races, and then there's the assist, and the assist helps the winner to get however far they may get before they give up.
Yeah, and this is where you tied the world record recently, like a few weeks ago in Australia, and we're going to dive deep into that race, because the race itself is probably worthy of being a movie with the final 3 competitors.
Yeah,
there's so many layers to it. First of all, I want to say, like, the thing about this laps racing, like, to me, is that it feels, from an outsider's perspective, it looks tantalizingly easy. Do you know what I mean? Anyone that's done a bit of running can run 6.7 Ks.
Anyone who hasn't done a bit of running can run 6.7 Ks in an hour.
And then you think I could probably just about briskly walk it. I could have a break, do it again. But then, like, from my perspective, as someone that does like a 10K here, 20K here, you get to 10 hours, you're bored, mentally you're bored. You've also tired because you've done 67 Ks at that point, and you give up. But you just fucking don't.
Yeah, well, I think you touched on it briefly before, saying like it is easy, and like this format of racing, it's easy until it's not.
And that's the thing. It's the until it not. I suppose that varies from person to person.
And I mean, at the end of the day, the farthest distance you've run is the farthest distance you've run. Like the longest you've gone might be 20 Ks, so to up that by a couple of Ks, then that's a win.
Yeah.
Is it your full capacity? Maybe not, because in your head, like that's your upper limit. Where I'm just kind of going to find wherever the limit actually is physically, and break down all of those mental barriers. Because yeah, I've definitely like come to a point and I'm like, 300 miles. Like there was at the Australian race a couple of weeks ago, like I hit the 300 mile mark, and that was like emotional. I didn't expect it
300 miles, that's like 500 Ks. Yeah, 300 miles, 500 Ks, and then you ended up running a total of 677.
Yeah.
So when you got to 300 miles, we can work in whatever format you want here. When you got to 300 miles, like I mean, for a lot of people, you could be like, okay, that's an epic milestone. I'm gonna wind down now. Yeah. I'm not going to win, but it's amazing for me. But you just kept on fucking going.
Yeah, so I don't look at it in milestones, and a lot of people do. Like a lot of people say, oh, I want to get to the 24-hour mark, which is 100 miles or 160 kilometers, or I want to get to the 40-hour mark or the 50-hour mark. Honestly, I just kind of dissociate altogether. I don't count hours. I don't count kilometers. I just like, I'm just there to run. I run. And I do a loop, and I just complete a loop, and I just focus on the task at hand, and don't kind of let the grand scheme of things affect me too much. And I think that's what messes a lot of people up, is they're looking to, like, they're setting targets, and then they hit them, and they're like, oh, what do I do now? I've now got to set a new target. I'm like,
your target's just to be the last man standing.
Yeah, my target's just to win.
Yeah. Okay. How much of this is physical and how much is mental? Obviously, physical fitness is huge. Like, not anyone can go out and, clock up a 677 Ks in 4 days.
For sure. I mean, obviously very physical, like extremely physically demanding. I guess I've removed the physical element of it to a degree, because I've trained so hard for it, and I know my body and I know my capabilities. Basically, I can go into one of these things knowing that like my body's going to perform. Like I'm at the upper tier of people who have prepared their body for any kind of running event. I might not be the fastest, but I've definitely put in the top tier level of miles. And so I know my legs and my body, they're all going to do the job, and I can just focus on the task at hand. The big thing being you've got to beat yourself, or beat your mental limits. So yeah, it does come down to that mental strength in the end.
If you had to put a percentage on each, what would it be? Can't be 50-50, eh? It's got to be... I would have thought, having never done one myself, just sitting here in this beautiful plush armchair, 80-20, 80% mental.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people say it's in the reverse of like running. It's 80% physicality. Like you need to have that body there, and then 20% of it's mental. But yeah, I would say the opposite. I mean, once you've prepared the body, then it's only 20% like making sure everything's right, and then 80% of it is just getting your head straight.
And how do you prepare the body? Like, what does a heavy training week look like for you?
About 160 to 180k of running a week, and then
that's not excessive.
Yeah, and then 2 or 3 strength sessions, which might be like, I don't know, half an hour in the gym doing like heavy weights.
Right. So 160Ks a week. How much of that is, like, what sort of training is that? Like, is it speed work, long, slow runs?
No, so it'll be polarized training. So I'll be doing, most of that volume will be slow, easy, zone 1, zone 2 running, and then a very small amount of it, maybe like 1 or 2 sessions a week would be that faster training. So doing hill sprints or the like, or a tempo run.
And do you do any training for the sleep deprivation? Like I would have thought your training may entail like having a Friday and Saturday where you do laps for 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think life prepares you for these races. Like.
Not me. I love my sleep. Sleep deprivation is one of the worst things, man.
Yeah,
horrible.
I mean, less so from the sleep deprivation. The sleep deprivation, you probably get more used to having done a few of these races, and I've done, it's at least half a dozen of these things now. So, like, I have run through the night on every single one of these races. I've done 200 plus kilometers. So I've gone through the night and even into the second night on at least most of them, and so got a bit used to it. And honestly, the world record, having gone through 4 nights, that was just adapting on the go. And that's probably something that I have a strength in, is you're presented with a problem and you find a way of fixing it in the moment.
But that's you make it sound very simple and very easy, but when sleep deprivation kicks in, your rational mind often sort of shuts down.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you start to make your reasoning with yourself, or negotiating with yourself, or making decisions that after a good sleep you're going to regret. Yeah,
well, totally. I mean, at the end of the day, I can be very mechanical and just like kind of get the job done, which is what I was doing. As you say, like reasoning with yourself, maybe not reasoning with myself, but come the 5th day, like the final day where I stopped, that was where people I was taking reasoning from people that weren't me.
Who, like your support crew? And
and basically saying like, you're sick, like you've got pneumonia, like the doctor wants to pull you from the race director wants to pull you from the race, like you've got to stop. And I was like, no, I'm here to break the world record. And they're like, well, okay, we're going to let you break the world record or help to set the world record. But once you've completed lap 101, the 101st hour, the 677 kilometre, you are to then pull out. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I reasoned with their voice of logic, and I guess, that's what I've been kicking at myself about for the last couple of weeks. I can tell
by your demeanour, you're dark about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like at the end of the day, I was beat up, but like anyone would be beat up after they'd run nearly 700 kilometres.
100%.
Yeah, my lungs were a bit stuffed, but at the end of the day, like my heart rate variation wasn't going crazy. Like I wasn't continuously collapsing or showing signs that I was going to die or anything.
Continuously collapsing.
Well, like I did collapse at one point. That's what set off the warning bells for everyone. It was like around the 95th or 96th hour. And
okay. So for me, who's in your support group, by the way? Is it your wife? No, who have you?
No, so for that one was mum, dad, guy called Adam Keane, who's a coach, and he was on the team with me. He'd run, and then like once he'd stopped, he'd come in and crew for me. Sean Collins, he's another guy who was racing over there from the Kiwi team, who once he stopped, he came in and crewed for me, and and then like various others. So I had a bit of an expanded or extended support.
So
support
was it unanimous? They were all like saying, "Listen, Sam, you got to throw the towel in."
I think it was the race director and his kind of circle had like kind of made that decision. Then I had like my team were like fighting on my behalf.
Oh, okay. So they were sort of negotiating with the race director.
Yeah,
okay.
and then I think the negotiation was like allow him to get to the world record, but monitor him to make sure like shit's not gonna go really awry, and then basically cut him from the race once he's achieved what he came here to do.
So do you feel a little bit I don't know if exploited is the word, but like it's almost like they used you as bait for the eventual winner.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, both of us went there with the intention of setting the record, and I was going to feel like a failure if neither of us got there. Like if I had have like tapped out on like 90 hours or 95 hours, like come that close, but so short, then that would have been a failure. At least I got to match the world record and then allow someone else.
Yeah.
Because then I carried him there. Like I could have.
That's what I mean. So the race director's saying, "Okay, Sam, you're very, very sick. You've got pneumonia, but we will let you run another few laps, and that's it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I don't feel like I need to poke the bear any more than what it's been poked. I don't want to wind you up.
Yeah, I've got to be like kind on myself.
Yeah.
There was a hell of a lot of success within that race, both spiritually, mentally, physically, between myself and other runners, between me and my crew. Like that week was possibly the most spiritual and enlightening and wholesome and rewarding week that I've had in my entire life. So gotta kind of be nice to myself, because if you compare it with what could have been, then you take away from all the goodness that came out of it, and like what came out of that race was massive.
100%. And you tied the world record, and you did it not feeling 100%, which is remarkable, and it's exciting to think what you can potentially achieve in the future.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like old mate who took the win, he has had harder competition. He's been exposed to harder competition in Australia just because the Australians, they get a bit further in these races generally. So he's been pushed into these like third. I'm not sure if he's been pushed into the fourth day, but he's definitely been pushed into like the third day previously, and so he's experienced the deep end a lot more and had the ability to practice and improve his processes. Prior to this event, I'd only ever done 46 hours because
you're the last man standing.
Because
that's when the race finishes.
Yeah, well, because I've essentially won everything in New Zealand and we haven't quite gone as far. And so this was essentially my first opportunity to race with some really heavy hitters and find out where my limits are. And so, I jumped from 46 hours all the way up to 101 hours. And so I was in unknown territory for a long time.
For the second half of the event.
Yeah, more than the second half.
So what were you thinking? So you'd done 46 hours and you obviously still knew you had way more beyond that. But what were you thinking? And you like going into it in your heart?
I was
60 hours, 70 hours?
No, I was super confident that I was going to break the world record if there was anyone there that was willing to go that distance with me.
So you thought you could double? You definitely thought you could double 46 hours?
Without question.
I mean, it's a crazy thought, and it just makes me want to like tap into, even do a biopsy into your brain and get a part of it out to see how you operate. Because that'd be like someone, I don't know if this is a great comparison, but it's like someone running their first marathon, doing 5 hours, and then thinking, oh, okay, well next time I'll do 2.5. It's fucking crazy, like to do 46 and then go into the next event with the confidence that you can double that. It's as all the journalists say when they open the interviews, it's mad.
Yeah, I just think I know my body, I know my brain, and I know all the processes that I've built over the last couple of years, and I'm very confident that you basically take the system and then you just replicate it again and again and again, hour after hour, lap after lap, day after day. Nothing really changes. So you just continue on with your systems. You might need to fiddle things around a little bit, maybe on the third or fourth day, because there are new factors in play, like sleep deprivation. So you end up wanting to sleep a bit more in the nights or even during the day. So you make those changes. But yeah, at the end of the day, honestly, anyone can run a 6.7 kilometer loop in an hour. And even on my 100th, 101st hour, like I was still lapping in like 50 minutes, or maybe even like a 49 minute or something, where when I first started this racing a couple of years ago, like admittedly it was on a very hilly, hard course, but like 52 minutes was my consistent loop time. So
you get an 8-minute break at the back.
Yeah. So like, and I know that is a big enough window to do absolutely everything and have a bit of a rest. So if I'm coming in anything faster than that, then like I'm in good nick and I can go perpetually.
Okay, absolutely everything as in what? Take in some nutrition, hydration.
Yeah, that's the one.
Change your socks maybe, or
so yeah, I mean like hydration, yes, nutrition, yes, maybe a bit of a sleep. Change out any maybe wet, sweaty gears for dry clothes, and less so on the sock/shoe front. I mean, yeah, there are other people that are religious about that, but honestly, it was the Sunday night, so going into the second night, and I think I did a shoe change, and I had 7 pairs of shoes with me, and by that point, I only fit into one of them because my feet had blown up so big, and I was like, oh well, that means I can't do any more shoe changes. And I was like, oh well, that's fine, like these shoes will do, and if I'm not going to take my shoes off, then oh well, I'll just stick with my socks. If I stick with my socks, then I'm not going to do any like blister popping or foot management. I was like, sweet. I was like, what I've got on my feet is what I've got on my feet. So from Sunday night until Wednesday afternoon when the race finished, I didn't take my shoes or socks off. It was just like, if a blister opens up, if I tear some flesh off, I'm just gonna run through it, and that's what I continue to do. So yeah, my feet were super ugly and minced up afterwards. However, I just dealt with it. I mean, I basically figured, provided like I could still stand on my feet, and I mean, they were painful, but yeah, either way they're going to be painful. So
were you in physical pain?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had like achy knees, achy joints, achy hips, achy bloody everything, a bit of full body pain, and then my feet were swollen, mincemeat. At times I thought, have I got a stress fracture in one of my bone, in one of my foot bones or toes or whatever, and then yeah, from Sunday through to Wednesday, like every now and then, like you'd occasionally feel like a blister form, and like a real bad one, and it would burn, like it'd be searing heat, and you'd be just like, oh, and I'd do a bit of a scream, and then I'd be like, oh well, that'll probably go away in about an hour.
See, I think this is what, at least part of what separates you from most of society. Pain is your body sending you a message, right? That you need to, stop or do something about it. So how do you just keep going through it?
I guess it's not that I like pain, it's that maybe I've just learned to tolerate it a bit more than your average human, and I guess I've normalized it. It's like these things aren't comfortable, and you're going to be in a level of pain, but I mean, what you're experiencing right now is finite. like it has an end. So deal with it. And in a day, or in 2 days, or in 5 days, it's going to be done. And then you just sit down and you can have a beer and you're going to have yarns and you're going to have stories and you're going to appreciate it. So just do the thing that you're hating in the moment and then you'll love yourself a little bit more afterwards.
Yeah, I suppose it's like the well-used mantra, pain is temporary, glory is forever.
Straight up. I was yelling that to myself. I'm not sure if it was at the Australian race, but it was at the one in Christchurch just gone, which was probably actually more of a struggle, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. So the Australian one in Dead Cow Valley, we need to get into that race shortly. We've been going for 26 minutes, but you're so fascinating. So you came back from that having tied the world record of 677 Ks. Then you did another event, like a week later, 2 weeks later?
9 days.
9 days later. What'd your coach say?
My coach is on the special end of the spectrum. I mean, like he definitely doesn't like advise this type of thing.
Who's that? Is that Barry McGee?
It's Barry McGee.
Yeah. Barry McGee, by the way, for anyone that doesn't, he was one of the first guests on my podcast, I think like episode 7 or episode 8.
Oh, wow.
He won a bronze medal for the marathon at the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome. The last like 10 or 15 Ks were running like pitch dark.
Yeah.
So there were like tiki torches on the side of the road to guide the way, and he had no idea when he finished that he'd won a medal. But he was coached by Arthur Lydiard, and he's sort of carrying on that mantle. And I suppose the knowledge that he passes on to you is going to be passed on to another generation. But Barry McGee, fantastic like distance runner, marathon runner, but he knows nothing about like laps racing.
Yeah, he's definitely struggled over the last year or so to come to terms with the backyard ultra concept, especially like.
I feel like it would have been right in Arthur Lydiard's wheelhouse, though, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, he was alive.
He definitely appreciates like the level of madness that it takes. He likes the alternative and the kind of groundbreaking aspect to the sport. So he likes it from that. But yeah, I've definitely explained the concept of a backyard and running loops and there only being one person left standing and that type of thing to him a few times.
Have you sort of outgrown him as a coach now, do you think? Like, do you need? Is there? I suppose what I'm asking is there like a specialist, like backyards or ultra distance coach that you can tap into?
I think I'm probably at the point where I am the inventor in the world of backyard. Like, I am coaching myself on that aspect and coaching others and educating others on how they can go deep. I mean, I've made no secret about how I do this. I've put out videos. I was like, you want the secret sauce? Here it is. Do this, and this, and you can win. The only thing that's stopping you is your desire to push through the pain. On the Barry front though, like he's a wealth of knowledge. He's helped me to essentially do what needs to be done. Like, you'll lie to yourself and you'll cheat yourself any day of the week. And I reached out to him because I knew exactly what I needed to do in running. I needed to be doing 100 mile a week at least, week after week. But it was actually having someone to break it down into what workouts I needed to be doing, and then also just basically having someone to bounce ideas off and be honest to. And like, it means rather than skipping a workout or skipping a week, like, I've got him that is expecting me to be doing this. So he's getting, he's essentially there as the police officer to make sure I'm sticking to the rules.
He's a great man too. Can I ask what he charges you? What is it? Some insanely low amount?
Yeah, he's
$20 a week. What?
He's far too cheap. I think it's like $500 a year or something.
Yeah, I guess that's like $10 a week. He just loves still being involved in that community, and it's an absolute joy to see. Someone else I've had on the podcast twice now, Arch Jelly, who's almost 101. Wow. John Walker's old coach, and he's the same. He's on Strava, following people, keeps an eye on what Sam Tanner's up to. It's amazing. it's amazing that these guys that have done incredible things themselves in their own pursuits now still live sort of vicariously through the likes of you, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
cool. Okay, so all right, let's go to Dead Cow Gully. Dead Cow Gully. So this is sort of inland from the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, so it's
A couple of hours inland.
Yeah, a couple of hours inland. So you fly into Brisbane and then you drive like 2/2.5 hours like northwest up into the kind of the outbacky area, and it's on a cattle station in a place called Nanango, which is a bit of a middle of nowhere type place.
Pretty much everywhere in Australia is in the middle of nowhere, of nowhere place. So how many people start?
How many? I think we had like a little over 100, maybe like 120 or something started that race.
Yep. So and what's the track like? So 6.7 Ks.
So this one was trying to replicate the World Championship Big's Backyard course. So it had a day loop and a night loop. You did 12 hours on the day loop and then 12 hours on the night loop. The day loop was basically around the cattle station. So it's dry, deserty type outback stuff. So
like orange dirt. Red dirt? What colour?
Kind of like orangey dirt, like very,
Okay.
very, very dusty though.
Yeah.
So like the landscape was very much like burnt browns and yellows, and then like dotted around with like eucalyptus trees and stuff like that. And bright blue sky and just very, very vibrant outback colours, which was cool.
What sort of temperature during the day?
I want to say it was in the 20s during the day. It was warm / hot, but it was dry. So normally I'd run around in the day during these with a bit of humidity, so I'd have my top off and be cooling down that way. But for the most part, like it was top on, warm, but there was a bit of cool breeze from time to time, so that made the days very enjoyable.
Yeah, and it's pretty flat.
That course was very flat, so I think at most there might have been like 45 meters of vert during the 6.7 kilometer course, which is it's very relaxed.
Okay, so the run starts. What do you do in the first lap?
I kind of come out guns a blazing and just say, "Hey guys, I'm here to do business," and I do a hot 26-minute lap.
Fuck, so like 4-minute Ks, just under 4-minute Ks?
Yeah,
so you're quite a handy runner. You're quite a fast runner.
Yeah, I've got pace.
Yeah. Fuck. Is that advisable? What does Barry and McGee say about that? Like the sensible thing you would think would be to go as slow as what you can in the first one, like 50 something.
I think at this point in the Backyard Ultra, I'm almost helping to write the rule book. I'm kind of at the upper level of the performance, so like I can kind of do what I want. I mean, like
although in saying that, going into this race, you were Mr. 46 hours. Yeah. So that's a very, very brash, ballsy, cocky, arrogant move.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like I know what my body can do.
Yeah.
I mean, doing one little hot lap at 26 for me is definitely not at my upper limit. Like it's not like I was doing 3-minute 15 Ks or anything. So it was definitely within my wheelhouse. And then I settle into pace and then I do nice slow like 45 to 50-minute loops. So
just to fire an early shot, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So the guy that ended up winning, Phil Gore, what did he do in the first lap? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't care.
No, not really.
So you must have been. So you finished that first lap. You still got a half an hour to go before you go again. You must have been bored shitless. What are you?
Well, the joke was that in future I should pump out one of these hot laps and then record a podcast.
Yeah.
Do a 30-minute podcast, and like cheer everybody over the line and do interviews with them. So that might be world champs this year.
In terms of mind games, that's not bad.
Yeah, just a little bit of fuckery.
Okay, so you start these events. So the first one, you fire out a 30-minute lap. How long is it boring for? Like it's going to get hard, but is it the first like 10 hours, 12 hours?
Usually in the regional events, so like the ones dotted all around the country that I've done previously, like they only usually go for a day and a half ish, and I'm normally bored for the first 24 hours. Because I'm just like, plus I've done so many of these, and some of these events I've done the same course like a few times, like a few years in a row. So I am bored, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And then it finally gets to the pointy end of the race, and then things get interesting. With this one, because obviously went for so much longer. Like I think I was nearly 48 hours into the race before I was like not bored anymore. So, but then after that, once people start dying off and you get shy of numbers, it's like, oh, we're racing now, and that's when I get interested, because it's after that point, after you're down to maybe less than 20 or particularly less than 15 runners, it's like, oh, like these are the people that mean business. It's like these are the people who came here with intention.
Yeah, because is there a lot of people that set the goal in mind, maybe of I don't know, like 100 Ks or 100 miles or 24 hours or what?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
and then they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that does it give you like a boost when people drop off?
It depends. I mean, like if maybe you don't get along with a certain person, like maybe if somebody's been a bit of a dick and you're just like, see ya. Then yeah, but no, for the most part, especially because you form such strong bonds out there. Like a lot of these people are your friends, and when you see them drop off, it like almost hurts you a bit. Like especially like there's a guy, Ryan Crawford. He's the Australian number 2, and he dipped on I think it was on the second night, and I was hoping to like go deep with him.
Well, yeah, is he a mate, or you just a fan of his?
He just seems to be on the same kind of spiritual journey / hammering the sport the same way I do. He's a bit of a battler, and he's just a all around good sort. And we made friends out on course, and yeah, he was going downhill, so I was trying to, I guess, give him a bit of emotional support out on the course. And then I also said to my crew, I was like, go over to Ryan's tent and like give him some of my antacid, give him some of my electrolyte, give him some of this, give him some of that, and see if we can get him right, because he was like really struggling. And yeah, so it sucked when he disappeared. And then likewise, I made really good mates with a guy called Harvey Lewis, who's number 1 out of the US, and we were running together for like a good solid 2 days and formed like a wild bond between runners. And he disappeared after 90 hours, and that really hit me too. So
yeah, let's get into that, because it was like a 3-horse. How long was it 3 runners for? Because it was yourself, Harvey Lewis, who you just mentioned, and the eventual winner, Phil Gore. How long was it a 3-horse race for? Like the final 24 hours or longer?
So I think the 4th place runner gave up just after the 60-hour mark. Basically, he had been on the qualifying list or the at-large list for the World Championship previously, but now there's been a lot more people hammering and trying to get to World Championships. That tier has gone up, and so I think his qualification was something in the 50s, and now the 50s doesn't get you in. Basically, you've got to do
hundreds of the new 50.
Pretty much. So you've got to do 60 plus hours to get onto that list if you haven't automatically qualified. And he was trying to get back on the list, which he did. I can't remember if he dipped after 60 hours, but it can't have been that long after. And yeah, so from 60/60 something hours through to 90 hours, there was 3 of us, and then Harvey dipped on the 90th hour. So
yeah, so this is what I was talking about early on, when the last couple of days of this race could be turned into a movie, just the dynamics and the characters and things. So Phil, what do you know about Phil Gore? Are you friends with Phil Gore?
He's a competitor.
Yeah. But, until recently, did you see him as, like more than a competitor? Like, you like, that's the guy I've got to fucking beat? Or did you look up to him?
I definitely saw him as like someone who was like pushing high numbers. Mm-hmm. So I was like, sweet, hell.
That's the benchmark.
Not so much the benchmark, but like if someone's going to turn up and throw down with me and go as far as like I want to go, then yeah, there's probably him. There's Harvey. There's Ryan Crawford. These are the guys that if anybody's going to go to the world record and further with me, it's these guys are going to be the ones that lay down.
Yeah. So before this event, if someone said to Phil Gore, what do you know about Sam Harvey? What would he have said? Were you on his radar at all, or?
Yeah, he's definitely been studying me for a while. I think he's been following my Strava and whatever. So yeah, he's definitely kind of seen me as the as a guy.
The up and comer,
The guy over in New Zealand who's doing things.
okay. And what about Harvey Lewis? What do you know about Harvey Lewis prior to this event?
I mean, Harvey's, I would argue, in the top 10 most famous ultra distance athletes out of America and like in current times. So like, yeah, he's world famous. Like his reputation precedes him as an amazing runner, both in the backyard ultra, but he's run for the US 24-hour team like countless times, and he's literally just finished Badwater 135 this morning or last night, so that was his 12th running of the Badwater 135. So yeah, he's an animal, and yeah, I definitely knew who he was. And now,
so you weren't friends. There was no like pre-existing sort of relationship to speak of.
No, not at all.
Social media friends?
I think I was following.
Yeah,
I was following him.
But you'd never met though prior to the Dead Cow Valley. No.
No.
So why did you guys decide to link up and sort of form, I don't know, like a bromance or whatever you want to call it?
I don't know.
An alliance maybe.
Just had the spark, really.
Yeah.
Like
How? Why?
I don't know. Just got to yarning, and he was a good lad, and I don't know. There was just something intangible that like really clicked, and then all of a sudden we're out there running loops, shouting at the woods and having a good time. I've got I guess Nashville, Tennessee over in the US is my second home, which is where I kind of like built a bit of a life around like rugby and all that, and that's where I met my now wife Anna. And so I guess we've got like a little bit of a common ground of, yeah, we do ultra marathons, but actually I appreciate the hell out of the US and all things American. Well, not all things, but
we'll exclude gun violence from the list and a number of other things.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. I love American culture as well.
Exactly. So we got chatting, and yeah, all of a sudden we were yarning, shouting, keeping each other's moods going, and yeah, all of a sudden it was the Harvey show. And like
Sam Harvey and Harvey Lewis, and Harvey.
Yeah, we might need to get you onto the Harvey show, and there it could be Harvey, and Harvey.
You guys can pull me through lap 5. Come on, Dom, stick with it.
That's the one.
So most of these backyard events, they have like your sort of like a campsite, if you will. But this one, you were like sleeping in a house at night.
So the race base was centered around the farmhouse where the race director, he actually lives. And so it's this old weatherboard farmhouse. And I wasn't in there until like the 4th night. So I was just out in the campsite, out with everybody else.
Who was in there in the early nights? Or was it one of those situations where they waited till the field had whittled down to a small enough number that all the competitors could go into a house?
No, not quite. So Harvey, he was the money ticket. Like he had been brought over by the race director. They'd paid for his flights and put him up and done all that. And so
he was the VIP.
He was the VIP. So he was in there from the start of the race. Had his own bedroom and all that.
That seems like an unfair advantage in a way. No,
yeah, maybe. And then also Phil Gore, who was the Australian champion,
the eventual winner. He was in the house as well from day one,
from the get go.
Right.
And then it was on the fourth night.
They gave you a key to the house.
Yeah, the race director gave me his bedroom, and so I got to move into the house, and so I went from like kind of sitting around the campfire in a camp chair or in a gazebo to like sitting in a bedroom / lying on a bed for 10 minutes.
We've only been chatting for 45 minutes, but I'm guessing you don't give a flying fuck either way, whether you're in a pull-out chair next to a tent or you're in a house.
Not really.
It's all business to you.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
pretty.
But it
much.
must have been nice. What was the climate like there at night? Was it bloody freezing?
It's cold as hell.
Yeah. So it must have been nice. It would have been a luxury, right? Moving from a campsite into a house.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it was.
Do you sleep at all in those later stages? What was the biggest sleep you had?
I think the biggest sleep I had was 15 minutes.
Right. See, and what was the average sleep? Like 5 minutes, 8 minutes?
60 seconds, maybe 180 seconds, 3 minutes.
Is there not a fear that your support crew won't be able to wake you up?
Nah, my support crew have a job.
Right. 60 seconds doesn't seem worth it.
It's all sleep at the end of the day, brother.
It's like having a flat battery and plugging your phone in for 60 seconds.
Yeah, man. You'd be surprised what it can do.
Yeah, I suppose a couple more texts.
Yeah, I mean, a starving man will probably kill you for a peanut.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so you and Harvey Lewis, is it like a formal sort of chat you have, or is it informal, or you just end up running together? And
Yeah, we just end up running together. And
when does this happen? Like day 3?
yeah, maybe day 2 or 3. Like, yeah, definitely. Once it's like the numbers are whittling down, and yeah, it just seems to be that we're chatting more and more, and getting into a system of like maybe running and then walking for a little bit, and basically hitting different points out on course at certain times to allow us to basically get to the end of the course with time to spare to do what we need to at the end of each hour, but also kind of rest our bodies so we're not kind of hammering our bodies into the ground.
Because what's the dream in those later stages? Is it like 10 minutes at the end of the hour?
Yeah, I was definitely getting 10 plus minutes. Once me and Harvey were like, I don't know, in the evening / doing our walk run, little setup, then yeah, maybe we were doing like 52 or 54 minutes per lap. But yeah, that's still plenty of time to eat, drink, sleep, whatever.
Yeah, and I suppose with 2 of you doing it, you help keep each other honest in terms of the walk-run breaks.
Yeah.
So they don't blow out. So how did that look like? Say 10 minutes run, 3 minutes walk? What was the system?
Like 7 on, 3 off, 3 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off. So it was like 7 minutes to get you in, and then a 3-2-3-2 kind of system.
Like a really weird fartlek sort of system.
Yeah, pretty much. And then like you're probably having to take a leak every hour, so like you're stopping to do that. The other person continues, and maybe you have to do a jog to catch up to where they are, and then that allows you to kind of hit all. I mean, by the time you've even run something like 24 laps or 30 laps, like you get a pretty good idea of where you're supposed to be and when down to the second. Like you're hitting the same plots out on the course, like within 1 second variation, lap after lap, quite often, or it's very accurate.
So Harvey Lewis and yourself, you were running together with intention. Where was Phil? Like, did he sort of sit just behind you guys? Was he monitoring you? It's got to be so much more of an advantage, like teaming up with someone else, right?
I think he was running like 39 minutes 40.
So he was ahead of you. He wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure someone said he was running 39 minutes 40, and he was running that like clockwork, like 39 minutes 40. Here's Phil. 39 minutes 40. Here's Phil.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so a bit of a machine. So he was just coming in and he was running his hot laps. Me and Harvey were more kind of just chilling, having our conversation, doing
just
our
getting
thing.
the job done.
Yeah.
And what happened to Harvey Lewis? When did he start to fade?
So I think the 90th hour was his last hour that he completed, which he held the American record at 85 hours. So he upped his American record to 90 hours.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess it was in the last few hours, like he was just getting a bit slower, and his conversation was getting a little bit funky, and like I didn't realize that he was maybe kind of losing it. But yeah, he was slowing, and that was then slowing me down. And then I was like, yo, bro, like I need a bit more rest. I'm going to need to like jog this one. And so like, I'm not going to do any walking. He's like, yeah, no, bro, you do what you got to do. So I'd start jogging, and I'd get more and more rest, like getting 10, then 11, then 12, then 15 minutes of rest. And I guess maybe in that time, maybe Harvey was slowing down, getting less and less rest, maybe getting less and less food or less water, or maybe he was getting colder. I don't know what was happening, but yeah, eventually he was getting slower and slower, and yeah, I passed him on one loop to give it, and like gave him some ups. I was like, come on, bro, like don't give up on me, like smash it out. I'll see you at the end. And he's just like, I don't think I'm going to finish this one, man. And I was like, oh shit. So I finish my loop, and as I'm like coming towards the end of my loop, I should have crossed over with him at that point, and I can't see him. I'm like, damn, like he's out, like I can't help him. So I run into the race base and I say, is Harvey back yet? Like has he given up and like just cut course and walked home? And they're like, nah. And I was like, go get him, like go get Harvey. Like,
was this in darkness? Was this nighttime or daytime?
Yeah, it was darkness, like pitch black and cold.
Yeah.
So I was like, go get Harvey. So I was like, drive down the road, turn right, find him, bring him back, and that's what they did.
And after this intense, but very brief on the big scheme of things relationship, like how do you feel at the time? Like are you sad at the time? Are you bummed out? Are you able to process it? Or are you like, just, fuck, I got a job to do. I can compartmentalize this and deal with it later?
Oh, I was devastated.
Were you at the time?
Especially because like we'd been there for each other for so long. I've done another podcast and I've actually cried at this point in the podcast. So I'm doing well right now. Like it's pretty damn emotional for me. I felt like I hadn't been there to save him when like going into that night loop, going into the 12 hours of night, I may have saved him getting off the day course because he was going really slow. Like I was doing a pretty slow loop, like maybe one of my slowest, but he was going even slower, and I could see him in the distance, and I started shouting at him across the gully to hurry his ass up. And then I just started geeing him up and chahooing and just like making so much noise so that he would like
a cheerleader for him. Not that you necessarily had extra energy to spare.
But yeah, like
you were dealing with your own battles.
But yeah, I was kind of giving them the kick up the ass, or at least the encouragement to like get that loop done, because as soon as you got that loop done, we were out on the night course, and it's then a bit of a change of pace, change of scenery, and a different ball game for the next 12 hours. So yeah, I guess I'd helped him to get there, and I'd helped him to do certain things throughout the race, and I guess I'd lost my brother at that point. Like I'd lost someone who was invested in my race, and I was invested in his race.
Do you think you've got like success guilt or survivor guilt or something? Is there an element of that?
Yeah, definitely survivor guilt. But you can't save everybody at the end of the day.
Well, ultimately he's running his own run and you're running yours, right?
Yeah, you've got to be responsible for yourself out there. Technically you're not allowed to render aid in one of these. Like once you're out there, you're out there. I mean, you can encourage people and all that, but like you can't pick them up, you can't carry them, you can't give them food or water or a light or anything. It's like once they're out there, and you've got to look after yourself. And I mean, at the end of the day, like we are at that tier where it's like you're the professionals of the sport. It's like you know how to get it done and you know how to mess it up. So yeah, it's all on you out there, really.
What do you think you feel about it now? Like, is it sort of like an overwhelming sadness? Is it grief? Is it guilt? What is it? If it is guilt, it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the feelings have faded a wee bit, and in all honesty, like I've gone and matched the world record / assisted the new world record, and then done what nobody thought could be done, and turned around and a week later gone and won another last man standing at 288 Ks, which is like between the two races, I've done 965 kilometers in the space of 2 weeks, which is like wild. And
it's great for the Strava stats.
Yeah.
Kudos on that.
Yeah. I think I've got 3 weeks in a row where my average is like something like 300 kilometers, which is wild. But like everybody knew that Harvey was going into this race, and then he was going to back it up with Badwater 135. So he was like, everyone's like, you're a madman to go and turn around and do that. And then before he'd gone to Badwater, I'd gone and smashed this one out, and he's sending me things like, damn bro, you make me feel guilty. Now I've got to like go and I've got to go hard at Badwater, or you're going to make me look bad. I'm like both of us have just smashed out like potentially once in a lifetime achievements. Like he came third overall male for Badwater, and I came first for my second last man standing event. Like, yeah,
You guys are cutting your own path.
yeah, we're dominating. So
you're boys for life now.
straight up,
Yeah. Like just this bond that can never be broken now.
yeah, the
It's
Harvey
fucking cool.
show.
How old's he and how old are you?
I thought he was 41, and I googled him the other day. I think he's like 47 or 48.
Right.
So
What are
he's-
you?
I just turned 30, so
30.
so he's like,
So you're very young for the sport. That's encouraging, right?
oh, it's wildly encouraging. Yeah, like a lot of athletes in ultramarathon don't peak until they're like late 30s or like into their 40s, and I've essentially managed to get to the top tier in the world by 30. Like I was national champion at 29. I'm now at world champion / world record level by 30, and the way I see it, I've got at least a 15-year career ahead of me. So that's
Your knees
massive.
might disagree with that, but we'll see.
I mean, I think Harvey's a pretty good example of
Yeah.
longevity. Like,
Yeah, as long as you do everything right and do all the rehab and strength and conditioning, you'll be sweet, I reckon.
exactly. But I mean, like stats wise, like someone came out with the world stats the other day, and I think I'm the youngest person in the top 30 in the world, and I'm the only person born after 1990 in the top 20.
Fuck, how good.
Yeah.
So good.
And everybody else is like born in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Like they're all old.
It's like the running version of lawn bowls.
Yeah.
There's the odd outlier, the young person doing it, but it's me.
Yeah.
Oh, how good. So so Harvey, he tapped out at 91 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was lap 95 hours where you collapsed.
Yeah.
Run us through that. What happened there?
Yeah, I guess I'd gone into the race with a bit of a cold or whatever, and then your immune system, regardless of if you're well or not, takes a hit during these things because you're smashing your system. Like generally, even if I'm good going into these races, I'll probably end up with like mucus, phlegm, all sorts of block-ups for the next week or two after because my system's just taken such a hit.
It's a lot on the lungs, isn't it?
It's a hell of a lot
Yeah.
of breathing, so you generally end up with a pretty inflamed respiratory system anyway. But yeah, so I went in with a cold. The cold progressed by the Saturday night or the first night into maybe a chest infection. Like I was just coughing up and snorting up like these huge chunks of green, like the size of your knuckle, and like not just one or two, like a lot of them, and that was nasty. And then by the Sunday morning, that had mostly cleared. And I was like, oh, sweet. We good? Run into the Sunday night. And I think it was like Sunday night / Monday. Basically, I got a permanent nose drip. I'm blowing up chunks and coughing up chunks of both mucus, phlegm, and blood. And this basically carries on until the end of the race. And I guess that progressed into chest infection, that progressed into some type of pneumonia, and then by the end of the race, or by the 95th hour when I was like out on course and I just like go down, I'm like like actually struggling for breath, and I come into the farmhouse at the end of the hour and I just like collapse on the couch, like don't even get to the bedroom, I just like collapse on the couch. I'm like and like on the floor, they've got a videographer. The videographer's got his camera in my face, and I look like I'm about to have a heart attack. And everybody's like terrified that I'm gonna die. Or
from a race PR perspective or a race director's perspective, the last thing you want's a death.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
It's not great for business.
Yeah, it might look bad on the resume.
Well, just for future years. I mean, if someone dies, it's potentially the end of an event, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at MDS, Marathon des Sables. I think.
What happened there?
People die at Marathon des Sables
Yeah.
like most years, I'm pretty sure. Like, so I think that's just notches in the belt for them.
Yeah, if anything, it adds to the notoriety of that event.
Yeah.
Oh, I know we can get back to that. I just remembered you sent me a text last night saying, it's a good time to have me in. What did you mean? Is there some news blowing off about you? Or?
Oh no, just I mean like the fact, like you obviously wanted to catch up like a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of other people who have interviewed me have kind of struck while the iron's hot. They interviewed me last week, where last week I'd just done a world record. This week I've done a world record and backed it up with this.
Oh, the Christchurch event. Yeah, you're a savage.
Like people in my sport, they're like, you shouldn't do that. Like that's a recipe for disaster. Or you can't do that. Like there's no way you're going to win that on top. It's like, watch me, brother.
Well, that's the thing. And this is why I love speaking to people like yourself. And do you know John O'Riddler? Have you heard of John O'Riddler? John O'Riddler did a massive swim from Great Barrier Island to Devonport a couple of weeks ago. So
no, I heard about that. I just didn't know his name.
It was 99-kilometre ocean swim, and there's all sorts of rules. Like you're only allowed togs, you're not allowed a wetsuit, not allowed to touch the boat at all, and things are only impossible until someone does them, and then the boundaries get redefined, and that's what I love about guys like John O'Riddler and guys like yourself.
Yeah, ultra swimming is wild too, because like you're out there, you're swimming, but you've got this added factor of basically all of them go hypoxic. Like you go blue while you're out there, and it's real unhealthy. Like someone recently, I think, swam the Cook Strait and in the last like stretch died because they went hypoxic and drowned. So like that sport's next level.
Although those guys would say your sport's next level.
True.
Yeah. It's all perspective, isn't it?
All perspective.
Okay. All right. So lap 95, there's the collapse. And is that when negotiations are going on with the race director and your support crew that like we got to pull Sam off the course?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely when they're wanting me to stop. Like you're not healthy to go on. And I definitely had a moment of I'm stuffed. And then I was like, okay, if this, like, here to do a job. And I had a moment like that in Christchurch as well. Like, went down on my knees and I'm like, whew, it might be time to stop. And I said, no, if this, we're here to do a job. Like, get up, go. And I did. And negotiations were going on at that point. I didn't really know, but basically the people who are backing me are saying, like, let him get the job done. And the race director's like, this guy's stuffed. And I think my team's argument was, well, you would be too if you were this dude.
Yeah. Rightfully, you'd be stuffed. So, what's your mum like as a support person? Because I don't know. I suppose there's that mother's instinct that you want to protect your boy or whatever. But is she quite good at understanding your limitations and not throwing in the towel on your behalf too early?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
She's very organised. Like she's god tier crew person / crew head. Like she runs the team and she knows exactly what needs to be done in advance of when it needs to be done. So yeah, I guess I can like trust her to just like do all that stuff in the background, and then I can focus on the running.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once we were that deep, like I guess the voice of reason kicks in, and that's when she wanted me to pull. I mean, I've had like the conversation with her since then. I'm like, any future race, like, don't talk me out of it. Like I race until I'm dead. That's it.
Yeah, and that was the race director's fear. that you would race till you did. Okay, so it's 101 hours, if we've established, just reminding people, and 677 Ks. So the eventual winner, Phil Gore, did he know, or does his team know about these conversations that were going on? These negotiations, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, part of the like race director's thing was, if I'm going to continue looping, then Phil has to stay with me, basically as a like a safety precaution. That way, like if I collapse, he can render aid, whether that's CPR or whatever. And so, like, he knew I was in a bad way. Like, I'd collapsed in front of him, like in the farmhouse, so he saw how bad I was. But yeah, then I pulled it together, and like I was still lapping out 10 minutes of rest at the end of each one, so that was all good. And yeah, I guess he knew the conversations were going on, and then basically once we were out doing lap 101, I said to him, like, I've made the agreement with everybody back at camp that this will be my last lap. I was like, "Are you ready to do a hot lap?" Like, because he would have had to do the 102nd to essentially win. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm not going to do a hot lap. I might hurt myself," which is fair enough. I certainly couldn't do a hot lap in Christchurch the other day. Like I was spent. So yeah, he knew that I was about to give up,
to forfeit, sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
Because there's a photo of you that I saw online on lap 101, and it looks like you're doing I don't know, like an aeroplane or a Superman or something. Like you look happy as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day,
you don't look like a broken man. Put it that way.
No, and that's probably a good indication that people should have stayed out of my ear and allowed me to continue my race. I mean, like it hurts. Who cares? Like let me go to 140. Let me go to 150. Let me really do something stupid. It's gonna suck for those last couple of days, but like
last couple of days. Fuck. Any idea what your limitation would be? Do you really think like another couple of days?
I think there's almost a level of perpetuality in this, provided you're ticking all the boxes. I mean, eventually you may teeter on the brink of madness. Like I know when Harvey wandered off and timed out during his 91st hour, like he was looking at the side of the road and he was seeing grass people, and he's like, I didn't just see one grass person. He's like, I saw all the grass people.
Oh, like full-blown hallucinations.
Yeah, full-blown hallucinations. So like you get to that level, and so yeah, you've got to manage that and hopefully not go into that loopy zone. But I don't see why you can't continue this for a very long time. Like I believe eventually, like we're going to probably break the 7-day or the 10-day record outright during a backyard. Like those are actual events that people compete in, and yeah, in this format we may well go that deep and then break those records, which is going to be wild. So yeah, we're just kind of scratching the surface, to be honest.
Shit, that's exciting and also terrifying at the same time. And you say we, like this is going to happen in your career. You're not looking. You know how people talk about breaking the 2-hour marathon barrier and how they're like, it may not happen in my lifetime. You're talking about you being one of these contenders.
I think I'll probably do it in October, provided everybody's up to the challenge. And then if not, it'll be next year.
What's that? Is that the Big's backyard?
Big's backyard.
Where's that?
It's in Bell Buckle in Tennessee, which is like an hour down the road from where I used to live.
Right. Okay, so it's almost like a alternative home course.
Oh, it's like I'm so excited because it's not this intangible place in America that I've never heard of. It's down the road from where I used to live. Like this is a homecoming for me, and it gives me like such a home field advantage. Like I've got like literally my American family / in-laws who live a few hours up the road in a different state, and they're gonna be nearby. I've got all my rugby crowd / family that I've built over the years since 2016. They live just down the road. Yeah.
So you'll have a lot of support on course potentially, or new faces popping in and out.
Yeah, people aren't allowed out on course. It's very kind of private, but like in the lead up to the race, like I'm definitely going to have a lot of love and support, and like there's definitely going to be a lot of people rooting for me.
And are spectators allowed at the start finish area?
No.
Wow. Why?
So it's
a terrible marketing strategy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I guess Laz, who has created the sport, has kind of created this monster that's now like grown into this crazy, massive beast. But it's held on his little farm in Bell Buckle, Tennessee. It's kind of middle of nowhere type deal. Little farm. It's got a little farmhouse and like not too many amenities. Like they're having to bring in porta potties and all the likes of additional stuff.
So it's like a really shit festival.
Yeah, it's definitely festival vibes.
No music, not much sleep, a lot of exercise, no drugs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Apart from currents.
Yeah, currents and
tailwind.
Lots of tailwind, a lot of caffeine, hell of a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think basically I think they've got the capacity to have like 200 or so people
Right.
there. So it's the runners, it's their support crew. There's the race officials / event personnel, and then there's like the media there's people like recording movies / documentaries, and that's all they really have capacity for, because by the time 4 or 5 days of this is up, like they will have really tapped into their resources as far as like water, and like the porta potties are probably going to be in a bit of a state. And
Okay, so there's just not the infrastructure for...
there's no infrastructure to have all the people there.
So you've talked at sort of reasonable length, and you've been quite open about this, about the thing you call your secret sauce. So it's like you're putting your cards out on the table, you're keeping no secrets from anyone. You're basically giving people the blueprint, which, to be honest, I think it's a blueprint that is, most of it is in your head, so it can't be necessarily duplicated. But how would you describe the secret sauce? Like, how can anyone do this and do well?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're running. And...
You're running a manageable distance.
You're running a very manageable distance, and
at least early on.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to potentially sleep at some point, and wear clothes or whatever. So it's getting
the formula just right.
Yeah, it might be anywhere from, if you can only get 20 gram of carbohydrate in per hour, then it's that. But if you're adapted, it might be anything through to 90 gram of carbohydrate per hour, which for most runners or human beings is going to be too much, and then you're going to have GI discomfort. So it's getting in that. It's getting in like 500 ml, depending on the heat out there, but roughly 500 ml of fluids each hour, and then that's got to have electrolytes in it. So you're putting some sort of drink mix in it, whether it's just purely salts, or if you're throwing a drink mix in there, like a sports drink that's got both the calories in the form of carbohydrate, and then also getting your salts in. And then, so you've got your hydration, possibly nutrition, and that might come in the form of anything really, whether it's carbohydrates or proteins or fats, and
you just eat whatever's on the table.
Yeah,
I know Dean Canazes, one of the sort of, I suppose, the original mainstream like ultra marathon runner. You know, he became famous for it was quite a kind of shtick, I guess. But in his book, he talked about like ordering pizzas on the run and just rolling up a pizza and eating it like a burrito. Yeah,
straight up. So I mean, anything that works in the moment. Realistically, I mean, like I eat a lot of candy out there, chocolate and lollies and stuff like that. But yeah, then I'm eating a lot of real food too, and that might be mum's made a bacon egg pie, or we get Chinese. Like they'll go to the nearest Chinese takeaway, and I'll be eating like stir fried noodles or stir fried rice, and just getting stuff that's tasty, because
you'd be going with a fork, wouldn't you, rather than chopsticks, because you got a limited eating time.
Maybe I try it with chopsticks next time, just to be fancy. But essentially, just your palate fatigues after a while, and so you don't want to eat the same shit over and over again. You don't want to drink the same flavored drink over and over again, and so it's just getting in whatever tastes good and whatever has the right kind of macronutrients that are going to fuel you, basically, to keep you happy. I mean, yeah, just keeping you fueled throughout. I mean, I think even Phil Gore was having like a roast dinner at one point during the race in Australia. So yeah, it's what you can eat at the time. It's not overeating, because if you get too much in, then you're going to cause GI distress. But whatever works in the moment.
Have you just found all these sweet spots through trial and error?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've been doing it long enough that I know what works, I know what doesn't work for me, and then sometimes I'll be presented with something new in the moment that I've never thought of before, and like I'll wolf it down, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we'll add that to the pile, and then like I might do another race, and I'll be presented with that food option, and I'll just be like, nah. Don't want it.
And how did your relationship and association with currents come about? I'm on the currents buzz as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I sort of think most supplements are placebo, for me at least. But I find with Currens, there is a tangible difference in terms of recovery.
Yeah, definitely. So
were you a fan of them, or did they approach you and say, "Hey, try this"? And
yeah, I guess I'd been told about them. They'd been told about me. They knew who I was and what I was doing within the sport. And I ran into them at Tarawera and basically said, "Hey, I'm here. I'm doing weird running stuff. Maybe we could team up." And yeah, like I knew the benefits of black currants and anthocyanins. I'd known about them for quite a number of years. So yeah, basically I've been using them since Tarawera in February, I think. And yeah, they've been pretty central in my recovery. Like,
interesting. So before getting on to what you're saying, Sam Harvey, is before Currens, your best was 46 hours. After Currens, your best was 101 hours.
yeah, you could put it like that if you like.
No, how do you take them? Because I just take 2 a day, like usually in the morning when I do have a protein shake and stuff. Do you take like extra Currens when you're during an event, or?
I usually try and take them on their own.
Yeah.
So I don't take them with like a protein shake or anything. Like I space them out away from meals, so it's literally the only thing in my stomach. So yeah, hopefully I absorb more of the good stuff. I'm taking it with water. If it's on a training day, then I'm trying to take it like half an hour to an hour or more before training, so I'm getting the benefits in the run. And yeah, and then if not, I'll just take it every day whenever. I'm only taking 1 capsule because I'm a smaller dude than you, so I maybe don't need as much.
I feel like you deserve that second one.
Yeah.
Smaller dude, but you're doing some crazy miles.
Yeah, so more recently, like even just on like my off days to try and recover, I've been taking a couple a day, and then during these last man standing races, I'm just kind of taking them ad lib. Like there's a lot of stuff that I do ad lib.
So they're definitely part of your toolbox though during the events.
Yeah, absolutely. Like maybe they're helping me with fat oxidization, so I'm using that as an energy source more, or whatever it may be. I mean, I don't believe that there's any one silver bullet. I'm very much someone who has a toolkit of a whole heap of different things that point me in the right direction, and this is one of my key things that helps me know that I'm going to get where I'm going. So I have that to rely on.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great New Zealand company, and they've got some great athletes on their books as well.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
Stacked.
Best of the best.
Absolutely. So what are some of the non-negotiables in this toolkit that you talk about? The absolute non-negotiables. So if you make it to the start line and you open the toolbox and some of these things aren't there, what's gonna rattle you?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I go in. I guess I got a bit of a suitcase now, but it's yeah, it's like it's all the different rubs for my legs. It's multiple pairs of shoes. It's multiple pairs of thick running socks, compression leggings, compression calf skins, multiple pairs of running shorts, multiple pairs of non-chafing underwear. And then I've got chafe cream on top of that, which I'm like applying liberally throughout the race. Multiple changes of tops, multiple changes of thermal layers, multiple changes of windproof layers, beanies, caps, sunnies, headlight, a spare headlight, another spare light, multiple changes of batteries for throughout the night. Because basically I don't want to get caught out on course, my headlight die, and then all of a sudden, game over. You're stuck in the dark. Bluetooth headphones, fully charged cell phone, multiple power banks, antacids. What else have I got?
Oh my God, it's a lot. Have you got it like a typed out checklist? Or no, I mean, you're rattling this off from memory, which is remarkable.
Yeah, like I know what I need in the moment. I guess I've probably like at any one point in time, I've got like a couple of boxes worth of stuff at home, and there's a lot of stuff that, depending on the season, maybe I don't need to use that stuff outside of a race. I mean, like, who needs to use like 12 different sets of thermals. So like, yeah, a lot of that stuff just gets boxed up and it only gets pulled out when we come around to race day, and then I can just kind of have a small drawer of my daily wears, and then multiple pairs of shoes. And for the races in New Zealand, then I've got my own race set up. So I've got a trestle table, I've got camp stretcher / like a pivoting camp chair, gazebo with sides, hotties, all the cooking utensils.
Does your wife know about the hotties? I like hot water bottles.
I see what you did there.
God, I'm so lame. So lame. It was low-hanging fruit. I should let it drop to the floor. You mentioned before Bluetooth headphones. David Goggins would say you're a pussy.
I say David Goggins is a pussy on a daily basis.
What's you've been calling him out. It's what's that? Just fun, sport, banter.
Yeah.
He must get called out by 100 people every day.
I think he does. It's been a bit of play / banter, and there's a lot of people that seem to like it. That
it's fun.
That I call out David Goggins, and that I'm maybe in the small segment of the population that can do that and actually come and back it up.
Yeah.
He hasn't bit yet. Maybe he will one day. I feel like
is that the goal, to get him to buy it or to repost or?
I'd love to race with him one day, man.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I want to be pushed to the upper limits of what I can achieve, and I think he's someone who also appreciates that. And so one day we'll throw the hammer down with each other, and whether that's he bites and he comes to one of these races one day, or eventually I get my green card so I can move back to the US with my wife, and I'm just going to hunt him down. I'm going to find out what his racing calendar is, and I'm just going to start popping up at all these events that he's at.
Or he does those videos of Instagram where he's running along and someone's on a bike filming him. I reckon you could almost work out what street it's on, because it looks like it's the same street every day.
Yeah, easily.
I feel like there's probably a lot of parallels with you and him. How do you silence that inner voice? You know, when that inner voice gets really loud, and I don't know, maybe I'm projecting here, maybe it's just me, but you're like, oh, okay, well, you've done your best, and no one would blame you for quitting now. Like when those voices come in and they become louder and louder.
I feel like I haven't had that voice in a number of years. I've kind of silenced my inner doubt, and I just have the belief, and I'm just I'm here to smash stuff, and that's why the last maybe couple of years, at least in the backyard ultra format, I've been laying the hammer down and kind of dominating the races. I haven't had a sense of doubt throughout it. I'm just I'm here, I'm doing a job, and then eventually everybody gives up, and it's haha, I won. Whereas this weekend gone, the race I did a few days ago, I got a bit cocky. Once I was enjoying myself, I was like, oh, my legs have healed after that world record. Cool, let's go. And so for the first 24 hours, I was running my loops probably 5 minutes faster than I should. And you want to conserve, because not only do you want to not use up all your energy, but you don't want to smash your system and have everything break down on you. And so I got a bit too cocky in the first day down in Christchurch. I got to the 24-hour mark, which is 160 kilometers or 100 miles. And then I was like, oh, I'm tired.
You're way more tired than what you should be at that point.
I was like, oh, I'm sore. And then I come to the sudden realization, it's you cooked it, bro. You stuffed this up.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Yeah. And
you got high on your own supply.
And I was like, damn, brother, you had the opportunity to do something world class by backing up this race or that race with this one, and you stuffed it. It's and so I go into this down
negative sort of spiral.
And I don't usually I never go into that, and I don't think I've ever been in that headspace for that period of time. It was all of Sunday, and I was just like, you fucked up. You deserve this. You cocky, arrogant bastard. And I was like, oh well, there's some really good lads in this race, like Glenn Sutton, Shannon Rhodes, Brandon Purdue, all guys that have been hitting hitting this race type before and know what they're doing. It's like, they deserve this because they played the slow game, they played the long game. And I was like, you bastard. And I went into negative talk. I was out there on course and I was just shouting at myself. And it wasn't intentional David Goggins type shit, but it was David Goggins type shit. It's like, you motherfucker, you bastard, you deserve everything that you're getting right now. And
Are you doing this out loud or is this internal?
Really loud, ugly loud, and to the point where like I came into the gazebo and like there's friends / family / crew in there, and I'm like, I'm not taking notice of anyone else. I'm talking to myself. I'm like, you piece of shit. Just absolutely like grunting and swearing at myself and just, and mum was like, oh, this is ugly. Like there's certain people that at this point mum's not like letting in the tent because I'm going downhill. And then I get out there and I'm lapping and I was like, you know what? You deserve this. You deserve this because you stuffed up. But you know what? You were able to finish that last loop and you're out here on this loop. So you're going to finish this loop. And I'm going to keep you out here and I'm going to keep you suffering and I'm just going to whip you all day long. And you're going to suffer and you're going to learn the lesson of not being too cocky in the early stages of the race. So that way it's ingrained in you for future experiences. So I just went out there and I just beat the shit out of my soul for all of Sunday. I was like, if you can start a lap, you can finish a lap. If you can finish that lap, you can start that next lap. And I just kept on just hitting myself. And it was like, sometime on the Sunday, I went out to start my next loop and they're like, okay, be strong. And I like go to be strong and like puff my chest up and walk up to the line and my legs go out from under me. I look like I've been on the piss and I stagger out there and I go to like puff my chest out and I'm cross-eyed and I'm like, oh shit. And I was like, oh no. And the boys take off and I take off as well, very slow. And I get about 10 meters and I just go down on my hands and knees and I'm like, oh, okay, might be time to give up and go home. And I'm down there on my knees for, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute, it feels. And I was like, well, you chose to stop right now. Like, you didn't collapse. You're not dying. It hurts and it sucks. Who gives a shit? Meanwhile, everybody's gone silent because, like, I'm right there. Everybody's around me. They can see that I'm not good. And then I get up and I charge off and everybody starts cheering. They're like, hell yeah, let's go. And the boys are like a couple 100 meters ahead of me at this point. I charge past them off into the forest and I'm gone. And I then do one of my fastest loops I've done in hours at that point. And I'm back in the race. I basically said, let's get the job done.
You reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, with this type of racing, there are so many parallels between what you do and actual life. You know, there's good patches and bad patches, dark patches and light patches. So there's a lot of parallels. So it must be, I don't know, you must have learned a lot about your mental health and resilience and things.
Oh, absolutely.
That are transferable into day-to-day life.
Yeah, I think I wind my mum up a bit because I'm very stoic with a lot of things in life now. Like, nothing's really a problem anymore. And
you haven't always been that way?
I guess I have, but now I'm very philosophical about everything. And like, I don't know, we'll be driving around in the car and mum will say something and then I'll like do some cliche quote or something. And she's like, okay, Samuel the Wise, like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, how good. How's your mental health been? I know you did this run in Australia for I Am Hope, Mike King's charity, and you raise a fuck ton as well.
Yeah.
Why is that charity important to you?
Yeah. So like I, like many others, run for my own mental health. I mean, I run because I love the sport now, but like you'd appreciate what it does for your own mental clarity and sanity.
From the neck up. But it seems alarming that it's only been sort of, I don't know, like recent years, as in the last 10, 15, 20 years, that people have been made aware of the mental health benefits, and that come from not just running, I suppose, but other forms of exercise as well, because until, I don't know, like sort of recent history, it was like cardiovascular and that was sort of it.
Yeah. So I guess I discovered that myself, and yeah, like I've had my struggles as a teenager slash young guy in my 20s when I was in university or in later years or whatever. And yeah, I guess I've found the benefits myself, and it's helped me to pull myself up out of the darkness. And yeah, now that I am kind of coming into my own and kind of kicking life's ass, I want others to be able to, I guess, get some of that light from what I can shine. And for probably the last couple of years, I've been thinking about starting my own mental health charity to help others out through my own exploits. And then I kind of figured, like leading into Dead Cow, I was like, why reinvent the wheel? Like, why not just partner up with someone who's already got something kick-ass going? And Mike King has created I Am Hope, and like that's the industry standard or the industry leader in the mental health space in New Zealand. So I figured, like, if I can partner up with him and raise some dollars and it can go into somewhere important where it matters, then yeah,
brilliant. He's a good man, real battler.
Oh yeah,
real battler. Doesn't mind rolling his sleeves up and mucking and getting his hands dirty.
Exactly.
Love that about him. I saw you do an interview on Breakfast TV, and they ended the interview by talking about the world champs in October, and you just seem supremely confident of winning, which I fully respect. I think it's fucking amazing, but it is also very un-Kiwi. Like the Kiwi way, I think, traditionally at least, and I think this needs to be sort of redefined, is someone like Richie McCaw saying, oh yeah, no, we're going to go over there and do our best and see what happens. That's the Kiwi way. The Kiwi way is not eyeballing someone and say, I'm going to go there and I'm going to fucking smash the world record and I'm going to win it and I'm going to win it in style. Where does that come from?
In all fairness, I'm sick of the Kiwi way. If that's how it's going to be, if it's going to be kind of hiding in the shadows and doing what you're told, like
I agree.
Like I don't know. I've been bullied my whole life in like primary school and high school, and like made to feel less than I am, and then even in the like professional workspace, like been a pretty high achiever, and it's definitely got me into trouble a couple of times.
Just jealousy from people that aren't doing as well, or
yeah, and just like if I know how to get something done, I'll get it done, and maybe it's not kosher, maybe it's not the written manual instructions version of how you get something done, but I get shit done and I get it done well. And yeah, if someone's very process driven and it's like you've got to tick this box and this box and this box, yeah, maybe it ruffles a few feathers. I think
it's just not the Kiwi way to sort of vocalize it. And one thing I found doing this podcast for like the last, I don't know, almost a year and a half now, there's been actually quite a few people that have messaged me like wanting to come on the podcast. And the first time it happened, I was like, fuck, that's a bit, rate yourself, a little bit arrogant. And the more it happens, I realize I'm the problem here, not them. And the last time this happened was a couple of weeks ago with a guy called Marcus Daniel, who's one of New Zealand's best tennis players, won a bronze at the last Olympic Games. I fucking respect it now, because it's the Kiwi way just to sit back and go, oh no, someone will ask me if they want me. But you got to put yourself fucking forward. I think it's a hangover from, like, call it what you want, tall poppy syndrome, crabs in a bucket, whatever. But it's like, I fully respect that, bro.
No, I think New Zealand is terrible for tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah.
And where that stems from is a famine mentality. Like, we are a tiny little island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We're far from everything. There's not a hell of a lot of dollars in our economy. And yeah, traditionally there hasn't been much. And so in a famine mentality, for you to have more, that automatically means that I've got to have less. And so tall poppy syndrome is basically people seeing someone who is achieving more and then trying to drag them down back to the level, because it's like, fuck you for doing well because it's wronging me.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that we need to get out of New Zealand. It's like, absolutely not. Like, if you're succeeding, great, because that means I can succeed too. And so that's essentially where we need to get to. So
good on you. Yeah, please don't change that. I don't think you will, but yeah, just don't get scarred or burnt or fatigued by people.
I'm past giving a fuck what people think.
Fuck, I love that. How good. Do you think part of that comes from the time you spent in America? You know, Americans are very, very good at selling themselves and you know what I mean?
I
Definitely
think
more the American way than our way.
yeah, I mean, like in part, yes. I mean, there's probably no one single answer to that question. What I would say is like I moved to America in 2016, and essentially I burnt the boats. I quit my job, and it was like a pretty solid career pathway. Like I've got a background in agriculture, and I've got like an undergrad and a postgrad degree there. I was in this agricultural role with a good defined line, and I was bored of it, and I was like, fuck this. So I canvassed the US through Facebook, found different rugby clubs and teams and universities, and I basically sold myself as this hotshot Kiwi rugby player that could that could teach them the New Zealand ways. And I was playing some pretty damn good senior footy at that time, and yeah, found a club, quit my job, bought a plane ticket over to the US, and yeah, basically built my own niche. So like 2016 is a very important year for me. It's the year that I backed myself. I didn't really care about like the standard life or what was expected of me here in New Zealand, and I just got after it. And backing myself and not caring what other people thought was pretty pivotal. And basically everything that's come after that, it's like you've got that magic, bro. So just run with it. Like if you feel something's on, just do it, because it probably is, and that's what's led me to being where I am now.
Oh, I love that. That's probably a good way to end it. Oh no, there was one more thing I wanted to bring up with you. Sorry, we've gone on for way longer than what I thought. It's almost you could have done 2 laps in this time.
I could have, or 3.
You've recently quit your job. Like you're managing to make a living out of what you love now, which is congratulations.
Yeah, bro.
So what was your job?
So I was raising capital for a property developer here in Auckland.
That's boring. So
boring, sucky, and like I don't know, just like people just bad energy, man. Like I'd been putting up with it for like a year. I'd been putting up with shit, and like there's this ethos or way of thinking that I've been kind of playing on for the last couple months, last few months, and it's like be about your thing. Like put all your energy into that thing that lights you on fire, and make that your life, because you can do that, and you don't have to fit into someone else's square shaped box. And I mean, at the end of the day, this world's big enough that if you work hard enough at any one single thing, you'll get really good at it, and someone's probably going to pay you for it. So why waste time doing some other shit? So yeah, I quit my job like 6 weeks ago, and I could not be more happy. It just allowed me to kind of put my head down and like focus on getting my head straight, getting my body ready for the world record attempt. And then obviously the race after that, and then the race after that, like I finished the race, and I've had a phone call, or my team's had a phone call basically saying like there's someone that believes in you, who's been following you for a while, and they want to support you to chase your dreams. And
who is it? So not a brand or a company, not.
Like a company slash a family.
Well, do you want to do they want to plug to the? I suppose what I'm asking is, I mean, anyone that does anything like this, it's really fucking cool, because it allows you to focus on your training and give up your 9 to 5. I mean, if they want privacy or they don't want to mention, that's fine as well. But if it's a brand or a company that needs exposure, then
yeah, definitely. I mean, so I'm yet to kind of sign the contract, but all the kind of the parameters have been put forward to me, and it's pretty damn agreeable, to the point where I basically said to my wife on Wednesday, I was like, go into work today and quit your job. Like, we're moving home to Christchurch. I'm gonna run, and like life's about to just pop off.
Amazing. So you get a salary, and they just pay for your expenses, flights, entries.
Yeah, and then I've got other sponsors who are also supporting me at the moment. So if I can basically tick off one more sponsor to kind of fill the void, then I'm a one-stop shop for the next few years on the running front, which allows me to be the best runner I can be, which possibly then in my niche becomes the best runner in the world. I get to focus on coaching and mentoring all the people around me and all of these public speaking gigs that have now presented themselves to me, and basically just shining my light on anyone who will look and see it, and just doing some amazing shit in the world, which I'm just like I'm beaming about, man.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see what the next, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years brings for you. You could be a guy that transcends the sport and sort of brings it into the mainstream.
Yeah, well, I think that's the beauty of the backyard, is like you are, if you do get to go deep, if you do get to actually push yourself, you are transcending yourself each time, and that's amazing. It's not comfortable in the moment, but what it does to your mind, like you find the other side of the darkness, it's amazing. And yeah, if I can be at the forefront of bringing the sport into not such a niche area, but being very mainstream, and yeah, that's pretty wild, and it's a bit of a gift.
Well, I'm pleased I got you on my podcast before you're too big. You were doing like Rich Roll and Rogan before you know it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty loose.
How good. All right. Hey, Sam Harvey, congratulations on everything. And so when's the next one? World Champs, October.
Yeah.
October in Tennessee.
So I've told everybody that I'll actually take a little bit of time off after this last race and recover and stuff. But yeah, nothing on the schedule until the 21st of October, which is the World Championship. I'll probably put a race or two, just like a little short 50K or something in between then, just to like keep me happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just recover, train, move back to Christchurch, get everything sorted, and then head on over to the US, and we're going to do like a month in the US instead of just doing like a little piddly holiday. Like we're going to do a whole month in the US, and then like a good lead into the race, and then just absolutely lop that thing's head off.
Okay, so just so we can like timestamp this interview. So this is Friday, July 7, July to August. So it's 3 months away. How many hours you reckon? You're definitely going to win. It doesn't matter how many hours.
I think 150 at least hours. Over 1,000 kilometers.
So that's 6 days.
Yeah.
And what over 1,000?
Over 1,000 kilometers of essentially non-stop running, or never resting for more than like 10 or 15 minutes.
Does that make you feel nervous saying that out loud?
It excites the hell out of me, brother. Like we're at the forefront of like human evolution in this. Like nobody's ever done this before. We get to be the first, and then all of a sudden, this is the next expanse of human perception. Like nobody thought anyone could break the 4-minute mile, and then Roger
Bannister
smashed the 4-minute mile, and
now everyone's doing it,
and now tens of thousands of people have done it. So, like,
the same as climbing Everest. Hillary did it, and now there's rubbish up there.
Exactly. So yeah, this is it's pretty cool to be at the forefront. It's a bit of a gift.
And if you die in one of these events, will people say that he died doing what he loved?
Yeah, find the thing you love and let it kill you.
Oh. Unreal. Sam Harvey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man, and good luck for everything in the future.
Cheers, brother. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, runners only, yeah, let's get it started. Hey, this is runners only with Sam Harvey. Fast paced, slow and steady, anywhere you coming. Just wanna connect for everyone who loves running. This is runners only, yeah, let's get it started. Hey, this is runners only with Sam Harvey. Fast paced, slow and steady, anywhere you coming. Just wanna connect for everyone who loves running. Hey, runners only with Sam Harvey.